What's up, YouTube? Doomwake here. Today we have some more Death Shadow in Modern for you. This is actually the 75 cards that I used to win the Magic Online, I think it's called the Showcase Qualifier, this past weekend. Basically, it's the event that if you top 8 the event, you qualify for basically another finals, and then the winner of that finals event goes to the Magic Online Championships in the Pro Tour, similar to the Pioneer one that I had won last month. This is the new season of that, if you will. So this is the 75 cards that I used to win. If you watched my last Death Shadow video, we had played just a red-black list. It was a little bit different. We had Soulscar Mages instead of Bomat Couriers. We had some one-ofs that are not present here. We also had Lava Darts, which I don't think is that great anymore, but we'll get to that in a minute. And also didn't have these white cards. So we made quite a few changes to the list, and I'm going to try and go over those as best as possible here. Now this is kind of the elephant in the room, if you will, or the construct in the room. I got a lot of flack over playing Bomat over the past couple of days, and people aren't really sure if it's the real deal. The I forget which user it was, but there was somebody in my Discord who had suggested it. I want to say it was user Fetterfool, I think. And they had, I don't know if they were just kind of messing around when they had suggested it, but they did suggest Bomat Courier, and instead of Soulscar Mage, and I kind of thought to myself, well, I don't know, but I'll give it a shot. What's the worst that could happen? And I believe we ended up 4-1ing a couple of times on stream with Bomat Courier, and I played a little bit more with it off stream, and I kept winning with it. It was just great. The reason I like it so much is a couple of things. One, the fact that it has haste, whereas Soulscar Mage doesn't, makes playing Scourge on turn 2 more consistent. Because there are some games where if you're on the draw and they play a tap land and you play a Soulscar Mage, they can just kill your Soulscar Mage without taking a damage, and then you can't play Scourge on turn 2. So it's delaying your Scourge an extra turn, which can be a real beating sometimes, especially in the matchups where you need to race. And the other nice thing about Bomat is specifically with Lurrus, and this happened a couple of times in the event where you just you have a Bomat Courier, you put a Lurrus into play, you sack your Bomat Courier, and then you can kind of just keep looping the Bomats, similar to how you can loop Soul Guide. Like you attack with it, sack it, draw a card, and you can just keep doing that. So it's kind of like another card advantage engine that goes with Lurrus, which is pretty great too. And the other nice thing that came up a couple of times is it's not a red or black card, which means it doesn't get purged. Auriok Champion can't block it effectively, things like that. So there's a lot of good things going for Bomat Courier, so I'm going to hopefully showcase why I like that card so much today. And then the other absence here is Lava Dart. Part of why I wanted to cut Lava Dart was because I had cut Soulscar Mage from my deck. Lava Dart, I will say, is quite good when you have Soulscar Mage, because just instant speed, being able to pay 1 mana and, as a combat trick, put 2 -1/-1 counters in their creature when you have a Soulscar Mage in play. Also, the additional prowess creature makes it so that Lava Dart can be quite a bit more of a burst of damage. But with the absence of Soulscar Mage, and in general, I think that because the format is moving more towards Death Shadow and Scourge of the Skyclave decks, Lava Dart really doesn't shine here. And the reason I had played Bomat Courier, I think part of the reason is because I thought that there was going to be a lot less Lava Darts than previous weeks of the format. So that was another reason why I thought that it was the right time for Bomat, because as you can imagine, if you expect a lot of Lava Dart decks, probably not the best idea to play Bomat Courier. But again, I didn't expect a lot of those. And the other main difference here is, you'll see we have a Godless Shrine, and if I can find it over here, a Sacred Foundry. And we have some white cards in the sideboard. Now, one of the toughest matchups, at least that I had in my testing experience, one of the toughest matchups that I had played against were the no-land combo decks, whether it was Goblin Charbelcher or the Oops All Spells deck with Balustrade Spine, Undercity Informer. And I tried a bunch of different things, and I kept getting destroyed by those decks. And the reason is because they have a fast clock, because they can kill you on turn 2 or turn 3, and they also have Leyline of Sanctity. Now, in the previous list, we had Feed the Swarm, right? 2 mana, destroy target creature, and Champagne Sorcery. But the problem with Feed the Swarm is, A, it's 2 mana, so... And that's a matchup where you need to be extremely fast. Like, you need to go 1-drop into double spell, and then potentially just kill them on turn 3. They don't give you a lot of time to sit there and mess around. So, having to spend your entire turn 2 on your own turn tapping out to kill their ley line, and not being able to do anything else, it didn't line up. That wasn't how we were beating them. But the nice thing about Wear Tear is, well, the killing leyline half only costs you 1 mana. So let's say you can go play a 1-drop, turn 2, tear your leyline, Thoughtseize you, right? That's a common play pattern. And the other nice thing about this, specifically in the Oops All Spells matchup, is they have a lot of artifact mana. Pentad, Prism, Talisman. And what you can do is you can actually, like, if you're on the play, you play a 1-drop, you do something of note on turn 2, they play a Mana Rock, and they have a Leyline, you can just go turn 3, fuse, kill your Mana Rock, kill your Leyline. They can't really kill you, because they're, again, unless they have Spirit Guide, because you've blown up their Mana Rock. So that actually is pretty important, too. Also, against Ad Nauseam, this can be pretty huge. Again, blowing up a Pentad, Prism, and a Phyrexian on life. So there's just a... Wear Tear is very good against most combo decks. One of your best cards against them. And it kind of goes along with our Cleansing Wildfire, because this is our plan against the Oops All Spells deck, which is a deck that I expected a lot of people to play against, even though I don't think there was actually that much in the event. But basically, you just mana denial them. That's how you beat them. And then we also have some paths here. Again, another big issue for this deck is Auriok Champion. Path to Exile, just a nice, clean way to get rid of Auriok Champion. You don't really care about the Humans deck getting extra lands. The Humans matchup is great outside of Auriok Champion. There are some games where you can just beat it face up, whether you can just go wide or you can TBR through it, but Path is just, makes it even easier. And then the rest of the sideboard, we have Kolaghan's... the one other thing about Path is for the mirror match. I did expect a decent number of mirror matches, and being able to exile Lurrus is pretty huge. Also, just having another clean way to kill Shadow or Scourge, because these were fatal pushes before I had 4 push into 75. So just, more clean ways to kill to answer those cards. And then, as I said, we had Wildfires for the combo decks and the Tron decks. We have 1 Kolaghan's Command, just in case you need a 4th Shatter, but also just a great grindy card for the Uro decks and the mirror matches. And then we have Soul Guides for Dredge, mainly, but I also bring them in the mirror, and then there's a few other matchups as well. But yeah, other than that, pretty much everything else has remained the same. We're still on the 2 TBR. I think I might have added a Growth. But yeah, TBR, Growth. We had the 1 Unearth, the 1 Cling. I love both of those 1-ofs. You'll see that's a common feature of my Death Shadow decks, 1 Unearth and 1 Cling. 2 Dismember, all the threats. Yeah, everything else is largely pretty much the same. So we'll go ahead and get started on the league match. I will see you back here in just a bit. Alright, welcome back for round 1 of our league with Mardu Bomat Shadow, I guess we'll call it. We are on the draw, so we'll reveal our Lurrus. Looks like they're playing a Gigantha deck. Gigantha could mean a couple of different things. Could mean Tron, could mean... there's actually a Jeskai Ascendancy deck that's been popping up. Could also mean Niv. So it's likely one of those 3 decks. His hand is kind of suspect. We don't have a 1-drop, so we can't really deploy Scourge onto unless we want to bolt them. There's a pretty good chance that Fatal Push is largely a blank 2 against Gigantha. We don't even have a fetch land to go with our Bauble. I think this hand's actually a pretty clear mulligan. This one's a little bit better. I can justify keeping this. We have basically 3 cantrips, a threat, and some lands. Keep this and ship the 3rd land. Let's see what we're playing against. Vista. So that probably means Niv. Almost certainly. I've been told this is a pretty bad matchup, and I can certainly understand why. For now, I'm just going to bauble. I'm actually going to bauble myself now. Yeah. It's a mutagenic growth. I certainly don't want to draw that. So let's lead Mesa. Let's get a Blood Crypt untapped. And I'm going to cast this other bauble, but I don't plan on using it. Okay, that's not bad. Ren and 6. Okay, well, they're going to target their Vista, which will eat with Cling. Maybe they don't have any more lands in their hand. That'd be nice. They do. Okay, well, now that I'm actually going to Bolt plus Bomat Courier attack this, I'm going to be cracking my fetch either way, so I might as well just cycle this bauble now. And they showed me a Vista, which they may or may not be drawing. Drew all of the baubles. Actually, what I'm going to do... I can actually play Bomat now. We're going to attack the Ren for 1. And then what we're going to do is we're going to post-combat... We're going to cast a bauble. I'm going to bauble myself. It is a mutagenic growth, which, again, I really don't want to draw. So let's just bolt this now. And... we don't have another land in our hand. I'm going to cast this bauble. If I draw a fetch land here, I probably would have held it for the scribe, but because I didn't draw a fetch land, now I can just crack it at a turn. Excuse me. What is this? Uro. Could be another Ren and 6. That would not be great for me. Alright, so we're going to Helix that. I'll just go ahead and see what they're drawing. Remember, they didn't draw this Vista because they shuffled before the draw. I'm just going to say a fetch land would have been nice, but it's fine. We can still deploy 2 shadows here. And then we can leave up Bolt / Dismember. Unfortunately, we can't do the, like, let's say they go to Lightning Helix this one. We can't Dismember the other one in response because that'll be a 5/5 after we pay 4 life. Sometimes you can do that, but this looks like a Niv. Or it's a Bring to Light, that's worse for me. I was going to say, if they just cast Niv, I can just Dismember Bolt it, smash them for 10, but... oh, they got a Niv. Okay, interesting. So, these are the cards that are in their hand. 3, 4, 5, 6... minus the Uro. This is their hand right now. Or, no, excuse me, they... Ren, Uro, Ego, Helix, Guile. Okay, so they didn't put the Clarion in their hand. Good to know. Let's untap. Unearth. So we can Dismember Bolt this, Unearth the Courier. What happens if we do that? So our shadows would be 5/5s. We'd smash them for 11. They'd go to 11. They would likely... Ren the Bomat, and then Kaya's Guileless to make us sack the Shadow, and then probably exile our Graveyard, if I had to guess. We don't really have another alternative, so I think this is what I'm going to do. We go to 8. Yeah, we're not really in danger of getting burned out quite yet, so... Guess I didn't have to cast the Bolt. Maybe I should have just attacked and bolted myself. That would have been 17 damage, putting them to 5. No, because then I would have died to the Niv. I was going to have to kill the Niv either way. I could have tried to see if they wanted to block first, though. But then if they block, I end up losing 5 damage. Maybe, I don't know. I think it's better to just bolt them. I think the 5 damage is pretty huge here. Although, if they go Ren plus Guile, I don't have lethal with the TBR because I can only deal 10, which is unfortunate. Because I assume they're just going to Ren minus to kill my Bomat and then make me sack one of the Shadows. They're going to Helix. Helix plus Guile. That's reasonable, too. And this way they just get to hold up the Guile. I guess they're just going to cast it now. If they're going to exile my graveyard. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought they were going to do. So actually now they have 2 Uros, an Unmoored Ego, and then the land they get back with Ren, which is Heath. So they have 2 Unmoored Egos, an Uro... No, excuse me, 2 Uros, an Unmoored Ego, and a land. Do I care about this Ren in 6? I don't really think so. I think I'm just going to attack them. I think that I'm probably not in great shape either way, but I think attacking them might give me a better shot to win this game. The Ren just doesn't really have any text right now. Like, I get that the ultimate's scary, but that's a far enough away that I think I can afford to clock them for 5 here. Because now they're going to flashback Uro, and if they don't draw something good, and we draw a fetch land, they actually have to chump block with their Uro, because they go to 12, and then we would be threatening 2 8/8s. So ideal draw here, I believe, would be a fetch land. Dismember would be fine. Just anything that can make us pay life so we can just attack into this Uro. So we know they have Uro, Unmoored Ego, and 1 unknown. Okay, Uro, Unmoored Ego, Windswept Teeth. Huh. Interesting. Uro, Unmoored Ego, Windswept Teeth. 5, 10. If I attack with both, they block. I Team or Battle Rage the one they block. We trade. 10 minus 6 is 4, plus 5 is 9. They would go to 2. And they'd be at 2, and we'd have a Shadow. Again, they have Ego, Uro, X, and Windswept Teeth. So then they can play Uro, go to 5. They still need to draw something good, though. Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of what I have to do. My play's kind of forced here. It's not the best use of resources, but I think this is the best way for me to win. They're at 2, we have a 5/5. They can go to 5 off the Uro in their hand, but the rest of their hand is bricks so far that we know about. Starting with Uro is a good sign for us. Optimistic. Teferi. Teferi's not good for us. Teferi buys them a lot of time. I have a feeling this is Teferi. Or at least they tapped blue-white X at first. I'm not sure what they're trying to cast. There's blue-white. Yeah, it looks like Teferi. And then they're going to Unmoored Ego us, most likely. Okay, so they're going to go to 8. They could still Ego us if they wanted to. They're choosing not to do that. Interesting. I'm not sure how much better the Ego is getting. I feel like they should probably just cast it. Yeah, makes sense. They named Scourge. I guess they didn't want me drawing a random card off the shadow, but no, that doesn't make any sense though, because they know we have the threat in our hand, you know. Well, the Thoughtseize is not getting any better. There we go. Sheet in the brick for one more draw step, please. Just one more draw step. I guess they have the Uro, so they can chump block. Go to 9, yeah. Tough game. I think I gave myself the best chance to win, but they're going to 5, back up to 8. TBR would be 14 minus 6 is exactly 8, so TBR is technically lethal if they have nothing else. Right, 14 minus 6. Looks like they have something else. Yeah. Well, now we're not in good shape. I don't know. I thought we had a chance to win that game. Now we do not. They're just going to ultimate this Ren with a Helix and a Pulse. We can't possibly beat that. Alright, so for sideboarding here, we're going to consider Soul Guide, Path. I mean, I've considered Wildfire before, but I'm not sure how effective it is, because they do have a lot of basic lands. I think they have 4 red and 6s, so I think it's pretty aggressive leaving in Bomat Courier here, although maybe we just need the threats. The removal spells are definitely pretty bad. Dismember, Push. Those are easy cuts. Not in love with TBR / Mutagenic Growth. These are cards I can consider cutting as well. This matchup is tough. I will say that. This matchup is very difficult. We just have a lot of cards that are bad and not a whole lot that's good. I think I need to bring in Path to Exile just because their deck is fairly threat light, and Path kind of not cleanly, but Path does answer all their things. Soul Guide's good against Luris, or not Luris, Uro. Again, as bad as these Bomats are against Ren, I think we just need the threats. We want the Kolaghan's Command. What else do we want to keep in? Yeah, the thing is, when I built this deck, I didn't really have this matchup in mind, so that's why you'll see that we don't really have a clean sideboard plan for it, because I didn't really expect people to play this deck. It's tough. I think I'm just going to keep in Battle Rages. I think Battle Rage might actually be my best chance to win. Like, they have a lot of removal, but then again, their removal, some of their removal is sorcery speed. So, like, Deafening Clarion, Maelstrom Pulse, things like that, so. It's possible we get them with TBR. Not likely, but. His hand is not ideal, but. We do have Bauble Scry, so we will bauble ourselves. It's a Path to Exile. I don't really want to draw that right now. I am going to get Sacred Foundry, though. Another land, not great. Gonna get a forest and play Utopia Sprawl. Yeah, see, Utopia Sprawl is the main reason I would consider bringing in Cleansing Wildfire, but well, that's not bad. Let's actually save this Mesa in case we draw another Bauble. Playing this is really bad if they have. Well, I guess if they Helix, you got 18. Yeah, this is going to die to Helix no matter what, actually, so. Well, see, they're at 19, right? So they can't necessarily Helix me, because they would have exactly basic planes, because if they fetch, they go to 18, they Helix me, I can seal them, they go to 16, then they gain 3, you know what I'm saying? So that's kind of why I think I was okay playing that there. Let us attack first. I am going to seal them. So they have a 5/5, and they have green-red Overgrown Tomb, so they can't cast Verdict next turn. They could cast Maelstrom Pulse, though. Realistically, how many Maelstrom Pulses do they have? I can't imagine they have more than one, maybe two at most, but could just Luris here. The thing is, like, I think the matchup is bad enough where I think I just have to try and jam. So, I mean, if they have exactly Pulse, then this is bad, but. Yeah. See, the thing is, they can't Supreme Verdict me there. They have no mana towards Supreme Verdict, so I just basically make them have their one out. I don't know how many Maelstrom Pulse they have, but I can't imagine it's more than one. Yeah, no reason to change anything. I think I'm just going to go ahead and run it back here. All right. this hand is pretty good. So we'll go ahead and keep this. We have some 1-drops into Scourge, so that's kind of nice. Utopia Sprawl. If they name red, I'm actually going to lead on Swift Spear. Yeah, because I don't want my Bomat to get red and 6th. Because they name red, which leads me to believe they probably have red and 6. So we're just going to play Swift Spear here. Try and play around that to the best of our ability. So they have Sprawl into Uro. Helix. It's a lot of Utopia Sprawls. Now I'm kind of scared of Niv, but there's not a lot I can do about that. We kind of just have to jam our card here, so let's do that. I'm going to get Sacred Foundry in case I drop Path, if they do have Niv. White, blue, red, black. Yeah, they could have Niv. Yeah, that's what I was worried about. That sucks. They do only have 1 card left. Okay, well, they're out of gas, and we get the Soul Guide there, Uro. We just need to find another threat. Interesting. How do I want to play this? Could Luris this turn. Could Luris this turn. Kind of choked on mana, though, so I can't really... I guess if I drew a land, I could Luris Bomat and then potentially get Scourge back the turn after. I think I'd rather just Soul Guide Bomat here, though, and leave up the Bloodstained Mire. Alright, let's see what they draw. Draw, pass. Let's go ahead and cycle this Cling. Guess I should target the land there, because in case they drew Ren. Okay, Swift Spear's not bad. So now I can play Swift Spear and put Ren into my hand. I like that. Is there a difference between 10 and 8? No, I don't think so. If they play a Niv, we can just kill Niv with Double Bolt. Now if we draw a land, we can Luris plus Scourge, which is nice. Path to Exile. Well, now we can lure a Swift Spear. Problem with that is they could have Deafening Clarion. It's a card they definitely could have drawn. I'm trying to think if we want to just maybe cycle this Soul Guide. Double bolt them. 11 would be... it's not great. The Pod 4, 8, 9, 10. I mean, even if they have Clarion, we still have another cycle here. I think this is okay. This just puts the most pressure on them, which I like. But there's definitely a chance they could have drawn Clarion and not cast it because they knew we had the Lurrus. They wanted to wait till they got the Lurrus. So they have Helix. That's actually fine with me. So I still got my value out of the Lurrus. I'm okay with that exchange. I'm still up a card, so. That was actually quite good. I kind of want to double bolt them here. I kind of want to double bolt play Scourge to try and empty my hand for this Bomat. I think I am actually going to do that. And it just makes it so this Scourge is so much less likely to die to them like Helix Arrowing or something like that. I guess maybe I'm overextending into Supreme Verdict too much. That's a possibility. I could see that. Like if they drop Ring to Light. Omnath. Okay, that should be fine. Alright, so they can gain 4 and get some mana. I'm not sure what they can do with the mana. Alright, let's just start off with a path here and see what happens. This does present a lethal attack. I don't want to let them chump block. Alright, they gave me the GGs. Huh. Interesting. I mean, they definitely flooded out quite a bit, as you can see. They drew, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 mana sources compared to, you know, 5 or 6 actual spells. So they definitely flooded out very, very much here. And I think we got pretty fortunate to win that matchup, because I do think it is quite a bad matchup. But hope you enjoyed, and we will be back in just a little bit for round number 2. Alright, here we are back for round number 2 of this Modern League with Mardu Bomat Shadow. We are on the draw again. Our opponent has revealed a Lurrus, so very likely some sort of mirror match. This hand is actually quite good. We have 2 baubles with Scry and a Shock Land, so we can get our bauble Scry. We have 2 good threats and we have good removal spells, so definitely a keep on our end. See if we're playing some sort of mirror match. Ooh, the mill deck. Okay. The mill deck. Alright, well that was actually quite a good draw. So let's bauble. Bauble ourselves. It's a Bloodstained Mire. 3, 6, 7, 8. That one's close. I feel like I don't want to draw a land, though. I think I'm just going to Mars Flats, get Blood Crypt, and Thoughtseize them. So they're probably on mill. And I'm actually going to bauble them to get more information on my Thoughtseize, because I don't have a second fetch land to scry. They revealed Bloodchief's Thirst. It's a good one to know about. Archive Trap. Okay, so they're drawing a Bloodchief's Thirst. I think I'm kind of priced into taking this Visions, because it is just going to be a straight-up Ancestral Recall. Because I'm on 16 cards, they're likely going to play Mesmeric Orb, which is going to put me on 17. Then I tap 2 mana for 2 shadows, 19, yeah. Plus they have the Thirst. So, you know, they are going to get to kill both of my threats, but the nice thing is they only have 1 black source, so they can't necessarily do it both in the same turn. Okay, not ideal. Okay. Let's play... I'm going to play Awakening this turn. Just in case I draw another bauble and I want to do the bauble trick again. There's a chance that we just kill them next turn, though, because they can only kill one shadow. And they likely have to do it on their turn. Because they have 2 Bloodchief's Thirst in their hand. Okay, let's do math here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right? 1. So fetch makes it 4. Mutagenic growth makes it 8. TBR is only 16. So I can put them to 1. Nah, that seems kind of bad. I'm just gonna fetch shock, play a Scourge, and pass. Like, I can put them to 1, but then I'm gonna have no creatures in play. So I'd rather just deal 4 here. Yeah, this is good. Play a Scourge, which they're gonna kill, but then they kill the Scourge, and then we still have lethal with the Shadow next turn. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so they're dead. Good. All right. Got game number 1. In general, I think this matchup is quite good for us. Priority number 1 is killing crabs, so we could consider Path to Exile. I don't like Wildfire. Sometimes I like bringing in some number of these to make sure we can kill Ensnaring Bridge. I'm not in love with Soul Guide Lantern because, unlike Nihil Spellbomb, this is one of the downsides of playing Soul Guide Lantern. A lot of people had asked me why I was playing Lantern over Spellbomb, and it was because the Oops All Spells deck has Leyline of Sanctity, and sometimes the Dredge decks do too, so you can't actually Spellbomb them because Spellbomb targets the player, but this says each opponent's graveyard, so that's why I was playing Soul Guide. The downside is you can't Soul Guide yourself in response to a Visions of Beyond. So there is downside to playing this. It's not all upside. That being said, so it's a question of how many small ball things do we want to keep in to kill Crab? Because we're obviously going to keep in Bolt regardless. I don't love Cling. Cling doesn't do a whole lot in this matchup. I actually don't hate keeping in all the mutagenic TBR stuff either. I think Seal of Fire is our weakest removal spell because it doesn't kill Ruin Crab, because Ruin Crab is an 0/3. And I think I'm just going to bring in 3 answers, 2 bridge, and we'll call it a day. Yeah, I guess the other downside for us not being able to spell Soul Guide ourselves is because they also play Crypt Incursion, I believe is the name of the card, which is exile all creatures from your opponent's graveyard. You gain, I think it's 2 or 3 life for each one. So obviously if we had Spellbomb, we could Spellbomb ourselves. Like, I think I would bring in Spellbomb in this matchup, but Soul Guide just doesn't really accomplish much. This hand is quite good, so we'll definitely keep this. No complaints here. Let's see if they have the turn 1 Crab. They do. How do we want to sequence this? I'm going to lead with Bomat first. I want to get the Bomat going. It's possible I'm supposed to board out Bomats because of the fact that they do exile cards from the top of your library. They block Will Growth. Oh, you love to see that. I'll take that trade all day of the week. Trading a mutagenic growth for a crab is something you would always want to do. It is a very good exchange for us, and it allows us to shadow this turn, so which is something we kind of wanted to do anyways. Now it's a question of, do we get the second Bomat going? I think I would rather not mill myself for 2 every single turn, so I think we're just gonna let one Bomat do the trick. I think after seeing the mutagenic growth, they're less likely to block this turn, but they still might. Yeah, if they're gonna block, they're gonna block that one. That's understandable. Not sure if they're supposed to block, but there's a good chance their Shadow's dying here. Okay. Ooh, they don't have a land? That is good for us. Okay. Alright, let's go ahead and play this Bomat. Let's just jam the whole party. Let's go ahead and fetch shock for sure. Let's get a Sacred Foundry in case we draw the Wear Tear. So I can deal them 4, 8, 9, 10. Or I can just... could TBR the Bomat. I actually think that I do want to cast the TBR here just because... 1, they don't have black mana up, so I want to get the damage while I can. And 2, there's a good chance I want to sack this Bomat next turn. And I want to make sure I'm sort of hellbent when I do that. So, this will put them to 9. It's not lethal, but get in a nice chunk of damage while we can. Alright, that's fine. I can live with that. And there's the Ancestral. It's good for them. It almost certainly finds them a land. Well, looks like they didn't find a land. That is unfortunate, especially after casting the Visions of Beyond. Yeah, very, very unfortunate that they didn't hit a land after drawing a bunch of cards. But overall, I think this matchup is quite good. Again, I think you're just too fast for them. Mill's general weak spot is aggressive decks, and this deck can certainly pour the pressure on with Shadow and Scourge pretty effectively. So, yeah, overall, a pretty good matchup, and we'll go ahead and see you back for round number 3. Alright, here we are back for round number 3. We are on the draw yet again. Losing all the die rolls today. Our opponent did not reveal a companion, worth noting. This hand is not very good. We don't have an early threat. We can't even play a Shadow on turn 2. Yeah, I think this hand is a pretty clear mulligan. It's just too slow. This hand's a little bit better. Question is, what are we putting back? I think I'm going to put back the Awakening. Could also put back the second Bauble. But I kind of want to put back a land. But if I put back the Canyon, they can take the Awakening, and then I'm only on a 1-lander. Like if they have a Thoughtseize. So I think I'm just going to try and at least make my hand a little bit better against Thoughtseize. Although if they Thoughtseize, they'll just take this now. Tron. Alright, let's bobble ourselves. We're looking for a Scourge or a Shadow here for sure. Bomat Courier. Oh, you know what? I just realized. I keep forgetting that. The card that I look at is going to go under the Bomat. Well, I don't actually want to draw that anyways, so let's just put it under the Bomat. I'm going to cast the Bauble. I think I'm going to hold off on the second Bauble, though. So there's going to be a Bomat under this Bomat. I can't. I've done that a couple of times just because I keep forgetting that when you Bauble yourself, the card that you see goes under the Bomat. Something to keep in mind. Okay, well we drew the Scourge anyways. That's the card we were looking for. There's a chance they just turn 3 Tron us anyways, and it doesn't even matter, but here we are. They have another power plant. Well, if they don't turn 3 Tron us, there's a good chance we can kill them, so... Let's hope they don't Tron us. 18, 15... Yeah, land would be lethal. Assuming they don't have like a Wormcoil or Karn or something. Well, there's Tron. So, not looking great. Ooh. I can maybe beat that. Especially if they get Bridge. If they get Bridge here, I can just attack with Scourge and then bolt TBR. Because my Scourge right now is only a 2-2. So if they get Bridge and I draw a land, they die. That's cool. I guess they could get Trinisphere if they have that in their deck, in their sideboard. Yeah, they did. Okay, well that's bad. Huh. Okay. Now what do we do? I can bolt the Karn and attack them for 3. Then I have a 5/5. Then if they have another Karn, they can get Bridge. I'm trying to think if there's a way that I can do this where I can present a lethal attack even if they Karn Bridge next turn. I don't think I can, though. Because I need to be able to cast the Bolt in the TBR, which I can't do with the Trinisphere in play. So I think I'm just gonna hope that they don't have Bridge. I'm just gonna Bolt their Karn and attack them for 3. I mean, I imagine they don't have Wormcoil, because I think they would have played Wormcoil before this. Right? Maybe. So there's a chance they have another Karn the Great Creator. We shall see. There's actually a small chance that they're Eldrazi Tron. They haven't shown us any stars or forests or scryings or anything like that. Not sure if Eldrazi Tron generally has Trinisphere in their sideboard, though. This looks like an Ugin the Spirit Dragon. Yeah. Looks like a -2. That's not good. Drawing the second Fatal Push, not the best. Can attack Ugin for 1, it goes to 4, then they plus it to 6. Yeah, we just don't have any outs now. We have no more threats, and they're going to kill our Bomat. We can't kill this Ugin. Alright. Basically, we just can't beat an active Ugin because our threats are all 1 and 2 mana. Alright, we definitely want Wildfires. I generally like to bring in some number of paths, too. Let's take a look here. Oh, whoops. Sorry about that. Just pulling up the sideboard guide just so I can remember what I usually... I know that... Yeah, so it was 4 Wildfire, 2 Path, 2 Wear Tear. Because, like, the thing is, you don't want a ton of those. And then we cut the pushes, the dismembers, the seals, the cling, and an unearth. Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, the reason you don't want a ton of paths and a ton of wear tears is they are sort of situational. and this is a matchup where you kind of have to race them. Cleansing Wildfire gives you a little bit of leeway per se, but you still can't really afford to draw too many dead cards. So I don't want to bring in all of the wares and all of the paths because they're good in certain situations, but I tend to prefer a split. All right. Game number 2. We'll reveal our Luris. Okay. I can get behind this hand. It has a Shadow, which we can potentially... And we can't really play it on turn 2, but we have a Wildfire and we have a Cantrip with a Scry, so I think I'm actually going to keep this hand. They kept 7. That's pretty scary. Let's just play Marsh Flats. Pass. Alright, there's the map. Let's bobble ourselves. Arid Mesa. Definitely do not want any more lands with this hand. Now, if we draw a creature, we don't necessarily have to Wildfire on 2, because obviously they can't Tron us on 2. But we don't really have anything else to do, so we'll go ahead and play a Wildfire. And drawing another land's not the best. We're really looking for TBR. That is the one card that we are missing here. Alright, so they are shooting for turn 4 Tron. Although we can hopefully make that turn 5 Tron. Yeah, and this is a nice turn because we get to go Shadow plus Wildfire, which is quite good. Let's get the Sacred Foundry just in case we draw path. Let's Wildfire them again. And we drew the path, so now we can even beat Wormcoil Engine. There's also just a good chance that we can deal them lethal damage before they even get Tron assembled. Karn the Great Crater, okay. That likely will end up getting them a bridge. Okay, that's fine. They get a tower. Yep, so they have Karn Tower and 4 unknowns. Okay, that's pretty good. That should probably be good enough. So they can't really do anything bad to us next turn. So 5 to 15. Play another Shadow. That should be good enough, yeah. Guess they could have... I don't think I've ever seen Tron play Engineered Explosives, but, you know, that's pretty much one of the only cards they could have here. Guess they could have Blast Zone. They'd have to have Blast Zone in their hand, though, because they can't sack the map, get the zone, and crack it. And if they zone us, they're basically taking an entire turn off, which means we can just go Lure Shadow, and that's probably still fine. Yeah, that's just not... Okay, so they're dead. will show you the Shockland. Attack you for 16. Alright. Wildfire plus Shadow. I don't really think anything has changed. I still stand by the split of Path and Wear Tear. Once we see O-Stone, there's a little bit more of an argument to bring in the other Wear Tear. I think in general, K-Command's probably too slow. But I'm just going to keep it like this. Alright, on the draw. A little scary. Maybe they can mulligan. Yeah, this hand is just way too slow. We have 2 baubles, but no fetch lands. We have no early threats. They don't deal damage to themselves, so we have no shot at playing Scourge on 2 unless we draw 1 drop off the top. Can't really keep this hand. Well, this hand is this kind of the same recipe as last game. It's between the Growth and the Scourge is what I'm putting back. It's actually, I think, a little close, but I think I'm supposed to ship Scourge here. Just because I want to go turn 2 Wildfire, turn 3 Wildfire Shadow. I'm not really going to have that much time to play this Scourge, and it also is not even really going to be castable until turn 4. Like, even if I draw 1 drop, there's no chance that I would play Scourge on 2 over Wildfire, so. There's a small chance I end up bolting myself here. Depending on what they do. Ooh, they played a Forest. That makes me even more likely to bolt myself because I don't need to Wildfire next turn. Because if I bolt myself, I can just play Shadow next turn. Which, yeah, that's got to be correct. Because again, I don't need to Wildfire next turn because they have basic Forest in play. Okay, there's the Scourge. It does make me not use my mana as efficiently, but I actually get the threat into play, which is nice. And I'm just going to be Wildfiring them the next 2 turns anyways. That's acceptable. Okay, so they revealed power plants. So always, one thing to note, most of the time, 99% of the time, you want to Wildfire the one that they search for, because that's one that they didn't already have before they cast the Scrying. Hopefully we draw a fetch land off of this Wildfire would be a delight. I guess I'll take that. I just want to. This actually changes the clock, so I'm definitely gonna cast this, and then just Wildfire them a bunch, I guess. I really do need to draw a land though. They may or may not have another land in their hand. Okay, that probably finds them a land. Yeah, Urza's Power Plant. That's the one that we killed. And they have a map. Alright, so they do have 5 mana for this next turn, which is a little scary. We definitely have to Wildfire them. Cannot let them Tron next turn. Again, hopefully we draw a land here. Preferably a fetch. Okay. So they're on 3 cards. I don't really want to play another threat into this. Because if I just play Bomat, if I, like, let's say I fetch Shock, play Bomat, attack them for 8, they go to 6. Yeah, no. Because then they could just crack this next turn if they have... Well, they're going to be able to crack this next turn. So I'm just going to Thoughtseize them. This also puts them to 5. Which is pretty nice. Yeah, I'll take Wormcoil. They can have all the lands they want. That's fine. So they have Scrying Tower, which means they're probably going to crack map for a power plant. We still have one more Wildfire in the tank, too, so... And they are forced to crack this O-Stone. Ideally, we draw a land so we can go Wildfire plus Scourge. Because otherwise, we're going to have to Wildfire plus Bomat. We do have to Wildfire. Oh, they got Blast Zone. Interesting. Okay. I guess that sort of... Because I guess what they could do is they can now crack this instead of the O-Stone. That's their theory, I guess. Alright, well, no point in playing the Bomat first. The nice thing about this... Well, no, because I can't really play the Scourge and the Bomat. Okay, see, that doesn't make any sense. I thought what they were going to do is crack the Blast Zone and leave up the O-Stone, because they could have cracked Blast Zone to kill this, and then they could have prevented me from playing both of these with the O-Stone. But now I just get to play both my threats. And they can't kill this Scourge, so... And they also can't Tron me. I guess they could have drawn exactly a second Wormcoil Engine, which makes this bad. But that's the only card that would... I guess... If they drew exactly Wormcoil, does their play make sense? Yeah, I guess I could buy that. Because they don't want to crack the Blast Zone because they need the 6 land in play to cast Wormcoil the following turn. So I guess that makes sense if they drew Wormcoil. Yeah, Ballista not quite enough. They can put me to 1. Not quite enough. And they are dead. All right, 3-0. Love to see it. I think Tron's a pretty close matchup. I mean, we got pretty lucky and drew a bunch of Wildfires. I'm trying to think if they had cracked the Blast Zone instead of the O-Stone. They would have certainly bought themselves an extra turn, because what they could have done is crack the Blast Zone to kill the Shadow. They still would have had the O-Stone in play, which means I couldn't play both of these. So I would have had to just play this, couldn't play this. Then I draw the flats. I go to attacks, attack with this, they crack their O-Stone. Then I probably have to Wildfire them. Play Bomat, play Fetchland, pass. Then they get to slam the Ballista. Yeah, I think they might have actually won that game if they had just if they had cracked the Blast Zone instead. But anyways, 3-0, and I'll see you back here in just a little bit for round number 4. Alright everyone, here we are back for round number 4. We finally won a die roll, so we'll go ahead and choose to play first. Show them our companion. Looks like they also have a companion. Let's see what we're up against here. My guess is Lurrus. Seems like what the cool kids are doing these days. They did reveal Lurrus indeed. We have 5 land Bomat TBR. This is definitely not a keep. We will mulligan. We have a 1-lander with... I kept 7. I really don't like going to 5. This hand's decent. Like, I can just put back the Mutagenic Growth and then Thoughtseize them, and then the rest of my hand is 2 threats, 2 removal spells. So as long as we draw lands, this hand should be good. So let's keep this, put back Growth. This hand has a lot of upside, for sure. If we draw a land, this hand is pretty good, because we can turn 2 Shadow. Or if they fetch Shock, we can turn 2 Scourge, depending. Alright, so it looks like they are playing the Mirror. Probably a 75-card Mirror. What do we want to take here? We don't particularly care about Thoughtseize. Again, our hand is 2 threats, 2 removal spells, so our hand is mostly Thoughtseize proof. We could take their removal spell or one of their threats. I don't think I'm taking Cling here. I think that's... Cling and Thoughtseize are the 2 cards I'm not taking. And I think if I was taking a threat, it would be Shadow over Swift Spear. So do I want to take Shadow or Bolt? I think we can just take Shadow and largely ignore the Bolt. We can just kind of play around it. Just not jam our Shadow when it's only going to be a 3/3. So, because they're probably going to Thoughtseize one of the threats, if I had to guess. In general, that's kind of what you want your Thoughtseizes to do, unless you're taking Fatal Pushes to protect your own threats. But they're probably going to lead Swift Spear, if I had to guess. At least I think I would, given their hand. Oh, they Thoughtseize me, okay. They took Scourge. Makes sense. And we drew the one that week that it does not allow us to play a Death Shadow. We're still going to play it untapped. Because if I drew a fetch land, I could have played Shadow and held up Bolt, so that if they went to Bolt my Shadow, I could have bolted myself. But there's the Godless Shrine. So we know Cling, Swift Spear, Bolt, and 2 unknowns. Okay. I think I'm likely going to dismember that. And I'm just going to pay the full amount. Try and get my Shadow out of Bolt range. Although, if I do that, and they drew a Death Shadow, they can't play a Shadow right now because they played their land already, so they can't go below 13. So if I dismember this, I go to 9. I play a 4/4 Shadow. Let's say they have Fetch Shock. Well, if they have Fetch Shock, they go to 10. They play a 3/3 Shadow, and I can just bolt it, hypothetically. I think it is worth just trying to get my Shadow online as quickly as possible. So they're going to Cling the Thoughtseize. Okay. Well, if they try to mutagenic this, we also have Bolt, so this is fine. I am okay with this exchange. So we know they have Bolt and 2 unknowns. Now if they drew Dismember, we can make it a 6/6, because we can seal ourselves, so that's good. So now we only get got by push. Let's see what they have. Bolt, 2 unknowns. I might just put Lurrus in their hand. I think they would have to get a basic, though. 10, 8, 4. Yeah, they would... Oh, no. Okay. So this means they're... Maybe they drew their own Shadow? Huh. Okay, so they're just putting themselves dead to a fetch land or a shock land? Okay, that's kind of weird. I'm surprised they did that. Like, I think they could have just gotten a basic there, and then they would have went to 1. Yeah, I guess they go to 1. I don't know how many outs they have at that point. I don't know. Okay. The mirror is a little bit tricky. So let's go ahead. I actually want to see... I want to see what I put on the sideboard guide as to how I was sideboarding. Okay, so we're going to assume that they're playing a 75-card mirror, which means I am, like, I would say with 95% certainty they probably don't have Lava Dart. So we're actually going to keep in the Bomat Couriers. This is going to seem a little weird, but this is what I was doing in the mirror. I was cutting the Swift Spears, the Battle Rages, and 1 Mutagenic, and I was bringing in Path, Soul Guide, and the Kolaghan's Command. I think Swift Spear is your weakest threat. It dies to basically everything. The other thing I could see cutting is Seal of Fire, but I do actually like Seal of Fire with Lurrus because the games do go pretty long. And I just don't think Swift Spear is really where I want to be. So we're going to try this. Like, if you look at it, like, I definitely want these 7 cards. The Pass and Decay commands, the Soul Guides, I would think what I was doing before is I was not bringing in 1 Soul Guide, keeping in the growth, and cutting the Bomats. But I actually think that Bomat is, if you know they don't have Lava Dart, Bomat I think is better than Swift Spear. Now granted, if they show us Lava Dart, we're obviously going to make some changes, but I think in general this is how I... The other consideration is you could cut Thoughtseize for Swift Spear, which I think I might do on the play, but I think I'd rather have Thoughtseize in the draw than Swift Spear. And as far as choosing to play draw, I've had a couple people ask me if they should choose play or draw in the mirror. I think choosing play is still right because you can just slam a fast shadow. Like that game, for example, I just Thoughtseize there. Thoughtseize. I actually kind of forgot. I took their. What did I take? Yeah, see, I took their shadow and then knew they didn't have an answer to my shadow, and I just kind of ran away with the game. Yeah, the most important card in this matchup is Shadow. These are the 2 most important cards, I think, outside of the Lurrus, but... Alright, they have Bomats. They kept in Bomat. Makes sense. How do I want to sequence? I definitely don't want to push their Bomat. So it's a question of do I want to play Soul Guide or Bomat? Definitely playing Bomat. And what land do we want to use? I do have to get a black source. I guess I could just play the Awakening, but if I end up flooding out, the Awakening can be pretty useful in this match, so I'm just going to get Blood Crypts. I can always get the white land with this if I draw Path. Or like if I want to get Godless Shrine and play 2 Shadows or something next turn. We'll see what happens. That I am okay with. Okay, so 15. Yeah, let's actually get... I guess now we can get red-white, and we can play this as our other black land. I'm definitely going to cast Scourge, because if I go to 12 and play Shadows, they still die to Seal of Fire and Lightning Bolt, so I don't really want that to happen. So I'm definitely going to play Scourge here. And I definitely want to get a Shock land, because I have Shadow next turn. I think I should just get... It's either Godless Shrine or Sacred Foundry. I think because there's such a high likelihood... Oh, actually, now that I think about it, I might want triple black next turn, so I should probably get Godless Shrine. Because I might want to go Shadow, Shadow, and push. And this can't be bolted. It can still be pushed or dismembered. Well, actually, no, it can't be dismembered. Unless they have basic land Dismember, because they can't pay a life for Dismember. Because if they crack a fetch, my Scourge is a 6/6. Okay, that's fine. The attack I'm definitely blocking. So this could be a Dismember. So let's think about this. Fetch basic, they go to 14. Dismember, pay 2 life, they go to 12. This is an 8/8 with -5/-5, so it'd still be a 3/3. I mean, I guess they could have... No, if they have mutagenic, double mutagenic doesn't do it. I can't really think of a way I get punished for making this block. Unless their hand is just really that bad and they wanted to crack the big Bomat. Okay. Interesting. I'm not sure I agree with that line. Yeah, I think they... Well, I guess the Unearth doesn't really do anything, so they traded a Swift Spear and some lands. I guess that's fair. Maybe a Bomat. I think I will allow them to chump block if they so choose. And now I'm just going to play this and play some shadows. Leave up Fatal Push. I could play Soul Guide there, but there's not a lot of reason to. They're on 2 cards. The best they could do is cast a couple of removal spells, but that's fine. It's only a 2/2, and we have a push anyways. Sure. I'll allow that. Double block in case they decide to push one. I'm not going to push now because they could draw Scourge, and I'd rather push that. Yeah, now this should be lethal because I pushed the Scourge. Yeah, this should be over. Push the Scourge, and I have some 2 7/7s. They block the 9 and take 14. Alrighty. Nice little 4-0 start. Yeah, that's the mirror. It appeared to be identical 75 card mirror. I think that was kind of I feel like that's not how the mirror usually plays out, but as you can see, I mean, this is why you want to choose to play these cards in particular, because these just get out of hand so quickly. It's just pretty easy to just get them dead pretty quickly with, you know, Thoughtseize and a key removal spell here and there. So yeah, definitely choose to play. And I have to figure out my sideboarding plan. Like I said, I think that I want to board out Swift Spear on the draw, but I think on the play maybe Swift Spear might be good enough. But it's pretty close either way. But anyways, we are 4-0. Hopefully we can get a trophy, and I'll see you back here for round 5 in just a bit. Alrighty, we are back for round number 5. We're playing for all of the marbles, if you will. We are on the draw. Go ahead and reveal our Luris. And we are not playing against a companion. And this hand is quite good. So we'll definitely go ahead and keep this. We have we have Bauble with a fetch land and a non-fetch. We have a turn 1 Bomat, a turn 2 Scourge, and a removal spell. Definitely cannot complain about this hand. Let's see what our opponent is on. Windswept Heath. Temple Garden, typically a good matchup, especially if they're playing a bird here. Noble Hierarch. So this is pretty easy. We're definitely bolting this. We just need to figure out whether we want to shuffle away the card or not. Blood Crypt, I would not like to draw a 4th land, so we'll definitely shuffle that away. And bolt the bird, as they say. Drew land anyways. Horizon Canopy. I wonder... I feel like this isn't Devoted Druid because Devoted Druid usually plays... Oh, they have main deck Auriok Champion. Well, that's not good. Okay, so they're on 16. I think playing Scourge here is pretty safe. Because in order for them to gain enough life to kill Scourge... Like, let's say they had basic land, Spike Feeder. Right? So they would pay... I guess Spike Feeder would kill it, but then they would just be trading Spike Feeder for Scourge, which I think I'm okay with because the Scourge isn't worth a lot here unless I draw TBR. So let's Bobble Trick ourselves again. We are definitely looking for TBR. I think anything that's not TBR, we will definitely be shuffling away. It was a snow-covered mountain, so definitely do not want that. So they go to 17. This is a 3/3. Man. I wonder if is this deck that popular where people are adopting main deck Auriok Champion. That's kind of wild. Can't say I've seen that before. That's bad. Did not expect to see that card. Well, this went from bad to worse. Not really sure what our opponent's playing. It's some sort of green-white company deck, I guess? I don't think I've seen this deck before. Very interesting deck. I need to get this Bomat going. This is not going well. At least we get some paths after sideboarding, which makes it a little bit more palatable. But yeah, main deck Champion is rough. Okay. So it looks like they are the Heliod deck. I still think this is quite a good matchup for us. I think we're a pretty big favorite. Okay, that's fine. Let's get a red source. Not just gonna spew off a bolt here. Scourge, not the best. Could play Scourge as a 1/1, but then if they just... No, because then all they have to do is just give their Auriok Champion lifelink. It would kill it. Could play Scourge and hold up Lightning Bolt targeting them. But then if they play Walking Ballista... Yeah, because then if they play Walking Ballista, they gain a life, I have to bolt the Ballista. I think that's bad. I think I'm just going to put Luris in my hand. Hold up Bolt in case they do have the Ballista, so I don't get comboed off here. Looks like they're casting Ballista. That resolves. I'm going to let the life gain trigger resolve. I'm going to let them target with Heliod, because I'm pretty sure they're going to target the Ballista. Then I can just respond there. kill Bomat, which I think is okay for me. Bomat isn't worth a ton here. Because I can't really sack the Bomat with Lurrus in my hand. I kind of needed to deploy the Lurrus first. Because if I do win this game, it's going to be going long with Lurrus. Which, I mean, I guess I'm just dead if they have another Ballista in their hand, but I can't really do much about that. I'm not dead this turn, but... Wonder why they didn't play that first. Oh, because they wanted to give their Ballista lifelink. Yeah, that makes sense. Now they can just make a 3-3, though. Yeah, this is rough. Just imagine how easy this game is if they don't have Auriok Champion, you know? I'm at 6. Play Lurrus Bomat, Chump Block. Let me just make this a 4-4. I guess I'm not dead, but not really alive either. Oh yeah, they just... Yeah, this is bad. This is bad. And I have to chump block the Mentor. I actually can't win this game anymore because I have to chump block both their creatures. Alright. Well, I mean, this deck is good enough where people probably have to play main deck Auriok Champion in order to beat it, so I'm not, you know, can't blame my opponent. I certainly want Path. I think that's, honestly, I think that's it. Cling, Unearth, Mutagenic Growth, call it a day. They don't really have anything for Wear Tear. They're not a Lurrus deck, so we don't need Soul Guide. Yeah, this looks good. Man, main deck Auriok Champion, huh? And they probably realized that the matchup is bad enough that they have to do it in order to win game 1. All right. Let's draw some Path to Exiles. All right, we'll play first. And we have an excellent hand, so I'm definitely going to keep this. Removal threat and a cantrip. Can't really ask for much more than that. Bloodstained Mire. I think I'm all set on drawing lands here. Definitely pushing that. It's going to be really unfortunate if they have Charming Prince, but I think I have to play this Scourge. I don't know how many princes they have in their deck, but I guess I could have played Bomat and left up Bolt, but Thalia, that I don't care too much about. That is acceptable. So let's Bolt Thalia. Let's get a Blood Crypt. Yeah, let's cast a Death Shadow here, actually. See if they play like a Heliod or something, which we certainly don't care about. Okay, that's medium annoying, but as long as I draw a fetch land, we should be okay. Okay. Let's just attack with Scourge. I imagine they're going to take this. Although they'd add a TBR if they take it, so they might block. No, they don't add a TBR. Because it would be 5 and then 8. So it'd only be 13. 5 first strike, and then it would be an 8/8 before regular damage. Alright, fine with that. I should have sacked it. I don't know how much it would have mattered, but I could have gotten... Oh. I'm supposed to put Lurrus in my hand, because now they're just going to ballista both of my things, so they're not going to do that. Okay. So they have company? Is that what this is? Fetch land would be nice. Okay, we take those. Attack with everything. They're going to company. Okay, let's see what they hit. Champion bird. Yeah, that's fine. Let's go ahead and path this champion now. Five, 8, 9. They'd go to 6. I'm just going to let them have the bird. So we know they have ballista in their hand. Okay, that's fine. I'm trying to think if there's any way that we can die. If they have land... Heliod Spike Feeder, they gain infinite life, but I think I'm just going to put Lurrus in my hand. I mean, I could keep up push. I could go cast push, hold prior. Like, if they go Spike Feeder, Heliod, I could go cast push, hold priority, sack the Bomat to kill the Spike Feeder, but if they don't have those exact 2 cards, then this is just a lot better. They're shocking. Noble Hierarch. So we know they have Ballista and 2 unknowns. They're not casting Ballista. I wonder why they shocked there. It's very strange. So we just have to think if there's anything that we want to do pre-combat. Because we have to think about potentially cracking this in combat to, you know, maybe find a TBR or something like that. But I think I'm just going to go to attacks first. Let's see what they do. This is almost certainly a Collected Company. I'm not really sure why they shocked, though. They also have Path in their hand? They have to. That would make sense, because they don't want to die to TBR. So their last 2 cards are almost certainly Path and Ballista. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Mentor, Spike Feeder. Let's see. Let's do again. So 2 mana, remove a counter, put a counter on target creature. I think I will let them go to blocks. See what they want to do. There's a chance I just don't even crack this Bomat. Oh, wow. I'm at 10. Alright, let's get... So if I get a shock land, I'm going to go to 7. And then I can go push this. Huh. This is awkward. If I push the Spike Feeder, they just obviously gain 4 life. Then they have Ballista with Mentor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they play Ballista for 3. It would be a 4/4 with the Mentor. I think I'm just supposed to get a basic Swamp here. They're at 4. I guess I gotta put them to 2. I think I want to push this now, though. Because I don't want them actually moving counters onto this. Okay, not that. So they're going to go to 8. And then I'm going to play Lurrus Bauble, crack it main phase. Let's see what they're drawing. Drawing Temple Garden. Okay, that's fine. I wanted to crack it main phase in case I drew a 1-mana removal spell that I would want to cast on their turn. It is unfortunate that now if I crack the Bomat, I lose the card I get off of it, off of the Bauble, but I think it's pretty important to try and find a 1-mana removal spell on their upkeep just in case something bad happens. Okay, that's fine. I can live with that. And they're shocking to 6. So remember, we know they have Ballista. So they might just be killing this Lurrus now. Not. Okay. Interesting. This is a tough game. Alright, so what if I bauble myself first to see what the card is that I'm going to exile under the Bomat? Play 2 Bomats, crack, and then I would still have 2 mana open. I think that's okay. So let's bauble. Let's cast a Bomat. I'm going to leave up path. Let's cast another Bomat. Let's go to attacks. Am I okay trading Lurrus for Conclave Mentor? That's close. That is close. I think I might be. So what happens if I do that? What happens if I make this attack? They're going to put probably this here. This here, chump this, take the shadow. I go to 12. Yeah, I think that's good. And they can shoot both Bomats with this. 4, they gain 3, 6. Okay. Yeah, let's do this. I guess they get to eat these 2 Bomats now, so they can go trade here, block here, eat the 2 Bomats, take 4. Maybe this is bad. This is not an easy spot. Like, I could have attacked with 2 Bomats and then held priority and cracked all 3, but then I have less mana up for the cards. They're on 6. So basically, do I want to give up a damage to try and hit a TBR? I think that is worth it. I did forget to bobble myself. I should have bobbled myself before I attack with the Bomat. Yeah, that's fine. So this is going to be an 8/8. It's still lethal if I find TBR, obviously. Didn't find TBR. Guess now they can kill the Shadow. Yeah, maybe this is bad. Alright, I want to see what their last card is. See what we're drawing. Scourge of the Skyclave. Yeah, I think I do want to draw that. So let's just do this. I think that might have been some poor sequencing on my part, but nice thing is we don't die to Heliod right away, so we still have another shot at finding our removal spell for that. I don't care too much about that. We're gonna put a counter on the Ballista, I would imagine. That's fine. I'm just gonna end step crack this canyon. See, the thing is, I think I needed to try and trade Luris for this, because this with Conclave Mentor is just so bad for me. So, like, in the event that I don't draw a removal spell off of the 3 cards in the Bomat, I really need to try and find a removal spell. So this can get basic Mountain. So 1, 2, 3, crack. So I'm going to play all my cards first. I'm going to thin my deck. Because I'm gonna cash in one of these whichever one the Ballista's blocking. I'm gonna cash that one in. And I assume the Noble's gonna chump the Scourge, the Ballista's gonna block one of the Bomats. Could crack before blocks, but okay. Now we can just pass. Now we should be safe from basically anything. I can't imagine a card that would get them out of this. Like, even Auric Champion's probably not enough. So we just dismember the Ballista. Yeah. Alright. Round 5, game 3. Still like how I sideboarded. I'm not going to change anything. There's some consideration for Kolaghan's Command once you see Ballista, but yeah. I think this is fine. All right. Game number 3. All the marbles. Thoughtseize Shadow Bauble. Sand is not ideal, but I think it is good. Like, we have a Scry with a Thoughtseize and a threat. I think this hand's good enough. That's quite a good draw. So we'll bauble ourselves first. Lightning Bolt. I definitely want to draw Lightning Bolts. I could have Veil of Summer here. That would be annoying. Looks like they do. They don't. Okay, good. Whew. Okay, so we have a Bolt on top. So we're definitely taking Auriok Champion because we can bolt any one of these creatures. Champion's the only one we can't answer right now. I have a feeling they're going to play probably Windswept Teeth, fetch for a basic, play Charming Prince, and Scry 2. Karn's Bastion. That is an interesting one. Okay. I think they should have fetched there, because if they scry both to the top and they don't want to shock next turn and get a basic, they lose their second scry. Alright, one on top, one on bottom. So now we know their entire hand. So, it's a question of how do we want to proceed? If we want to play Death Shadow, we do have to fetch Shock Thoughtseize here. And because of that, I do want to play the Shadow here, for sure. And because I have to fetch either way, I'm just going to bauble and see what card they kept on top. Give me more information on this Thoughtseize. Auriok Champion. That is not great for me. So now I guess I'll just take their Spike Feeder. So I got a 14, 13, 12, 11. I have a 2/2 Shadow. Yeah, I'll just take Spike Feeder. And then we'll get Blood Crypt. Now I just need to find a path. Or that works too. So they played Heath. Definitely not blocking. Them attacking is really good for me. We're going to get basic planes and play Auriok Champion. The question is, do we have lethal? We're close. So we can go, we can deal 4 to ourselves. So we only have 16. So we should have lethal next turn. And we could Thoughtseize their Ballista, so they have to draw a good one. Because the best we can do is Sunbaked Canyon, deal a point, and bolt ourselves, so we can deal 4 damage to ourselves to make this an 8/8, which is 16 minus 1 is 15, so they'd go to 3. So it's not quite lethal. So in that case, what we're going to do is we're going to Thoughtseize them, take their Ballista, leave them with just a Temple Garden, and we'll pass. The next turn we can deal a point, bolt ourselves, deal another point, and then we get TBR. And that should be the game. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 22 minus 4 is 18. I guess they'd go to 1 if they blocked with everything. Assuming we don't draw a fetch land or a dismember or anything like that. Ah, well that makes it even easier. They are dead. So nice little 5-0 here. That's cool. Might as well play this. No reason not to. $22 minus 3, 19 exactly. Oh, plus the Swift Spear. I guess Yeah, I guess that was a reason to not do that, but it doesn't matter now because now they can block here and take block here, take 20, or excuse me, it's 24, not 22. I can't math. All right, nice little 5-0. Yeah, that is. Unfortunately, I don't have the deck saved, so can't do the nice little Twitter screenshot. But yeah, deck's still great. I think this matchup is. I would say this matchup is favorable. Obviously, them having main deck Auriok champion makes it a little bit more interesting because that means they're probably a favorite game one. But once you have access to Path to Exile and everything, like in general, black red all removal is usually a heavy favorite against green white all creatures. That's just kind of a general philosophy. I mean, this card does change things a little bit, but we have Path to Exile too. But yeah, deck's still great, and I'll see you back here for a wrap up in just a little bit. All right, welcome back, everybody. Just wanted to give you some quick thoughts on the deck moving forward. I do think this is probably the best deck right now. If you want to be attacking, certainly this is the best avenue to do that. It's certainly the best Thoughtseize deck. That is for certain. I hope everybody got to see the power level of Bomat Courier. Again, a lot of people that I talked to have kind of skeptical of that card, but hopefully we got to you got to understand and see exactly why I like that card so much in terms of how the game's played out. And yeah, moving forward, there is a couple of things that I want to try because I've been struggling against the mono white Taxes deck. So there's a couple of cards that were suggested to me via Twitter that I'm going to try out in the sideboard. I actually posted a couple of different deck lists, different alternative sideboard plans in the Discord. I'll actually post a link for that in the comment section below, so be sure to join the Discord. There's actually a full sideboard guide for this exact 75 as well, completely free, so go ahead and check that out. And then as I work on the deck more moving forward, I'm going to keep posting lists with different sideboard configurations because I think the main deck is pretty close to perfect. The only thing that I'm really unsure of is possibly the second Seal of Fire and the third Mutagenic Growth. Those are kind of the last two flex slots that I'm not convinced on. But everything else is pretty close to perfect, and it's just we're trying to figure out which matchups we want to dedicate our sideboard slots to. So that's really where we're going to be focusing on in the next week or so. So be sure to check out the stream. Link for the stream is going to be in the comment section along with the link for the Discord, so check those out. Be sure to follow me there, and I hope everybody enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you next time.